I know for my personal recruiting process and just visiting all the schools and meeting all the coaching staff, one thing that stood out huge for me at Eau Claire was our coaching staff and the sense of family that we have here at Eau Claire, and it just not comparable to anywhere else, and it's pretty awesome. And you've been an awesome coach and stuff, and
Yeah, yeah. I think something that I enjoy, um, having spent my undergraduate career here, I was early on. The head coach Tim Fader had just started prior to my arrival. When I was first kind of looking into Eau Claire as an option, Fader talked about the growth that was going to occur to come, and I decided to buy in on that. It's been awesome to see, over the course of my competitive career and now coaching, what we've kind of come to. The room that we've got around us, you can see up on the wall, kind of the culture, and you're familiar with it. You've been a part of it, so I think that's something that really stood out to me about Eau Claire. As you kind of coming from River Falls, Wisconsin, you had a lot of options, being right on the border with Minnesota, the different schools that are in the Wisconsin area. What kind of attracted Eau Claire and separated that? Aside from the coaching staff, what pulled you to UWEC?
Well, I'm going to go back to the coaching staff again just really quick, and just Tim Fader's legacy, obviously. And my assistant coach at River Falls, he wrestled under Fader, and couldn't say better things about him. And he's gone from program to program and built them from the bottom up, and it's just so awesome to see and now be a part of that. And we're on the come up as well.
Yeah, I think something that we really try to push here at Eau Claire and that guys enjoy, and what's kept me involved with the program for an extended period of time, is the experience that we provide to our athletes and to our wrestlers. Can you speak a little bit to that, what that's been like for you being at Eau Claire?
Yeah, the experience, the biggest experience for me is just the upperclassmen and the leaders that we've had in the program. And I'm a Christian, so I've grown in my faith so much, and our coaching staff brings in guys like John Peterson that can come and talk to us and help us grow in our faith. And obviously the partners in the room are just huge. And wrestling's such like a unique sport that guys are suffering together. So like a sense of family is super important in that. And you go through the longest season out of all the other sports, and you're suffering together every day. So it's important to unite and connect with one another, even in the locker room, or if it's in our faith, and just grow together and become the best versions of ourselves on and off the mat possible.
Is there a guy in the room that you like to scrap with?
Guy I like to scrap with in the room, Brandon. He's another one of our assistant coaches, but that's one of the biggest reasons I came here was just Brandon would go on walks with his dog every night, and he'd call me on the phone, and we conversate for probably an hour most of the time. And as soon as I got here, the first thing I did was get right on the mat with him, and he was super helpful and helped me grow as a wrestler and adapt to the college, the wrestling. And yeah.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned two things that I heard you point out, the upperclassmen and then just the quality of the training, the partners that you have here. I think it's worth noting, our 2024 national champ, Jared Stricker, for guys that are looking at Eau Claire as an option. It's just awesome to know that Eau Claire is a place where you can come and you can win a national title. We saw Jared do it this year. We saw a top 5 finish team in the country. Can you kind of talk to me about being down at the NCAAs this year as a training partner, getting to be in that environment over that course of time? What was that like for you?
I mean, every time Jared's on the mat, you're sitting in your chair, you got your notepad writing down everything that he's doing and just trying to live up to that level that he's setting the bar at, and it's super awesome to be a part of. And same with Fleetwood as well. He's another graduate this year, and yeah, it's just following in their footsteps. They're doing the right things. And
so another area that I kind of want to go into, looking at our competitive schedule, what we have here at Eau Claire. We saw competition out on the East Coast. We were down in the South. We took a trip to Florida and Alabama. Kind of from the events that you got to wrestle in this year, what stood out to you?
Oh, it's so unique, the schedule that you guys set up for us and that Fader sets up for us. And I've never been down to Alabama to wrestle anything. It's just a super unique experience, and you come back after those 2 weeks and you're a transformed wrestler, and there's just so much confidence behind that as well that you gain from a trip like that. As like from your point of view as a coach, what stood out to you from that trip?
Yeah, I think the trip in general and really when you look at our comprehensive schedule this year, we wrestled 6 of the top 10 teams in the country in duels, which is awesome. I think it equips the guys well so that at the end of the year there's no surprises. We've seen the different looks from the East Coast, from the South, from across the country. In the Midwest, we have some of the toughest wrestling right here, and we prioritize getting to wrestle that. And I think, exactly like you said, the confidence that you have, that you gain from that, knowing that you've scrapped with the best guys in the country and the best programs in the country, it sets us up. There's no surprises, and we really get to see where we're at. Yeah, I think that's a huge plus to our schedule. Something else that's worth noting is the opportunity to scrap with teams that are outside of Division III. So I know we're talking about why D3, and I think all the more testament to it is when our guys go out and toe the line with a Division II or with a Division I wrestler, and we end up getting our hand raised when we're scoring points, when we have, we're tenacious, we're aggressive off the whistle. I love seeing that. This year we got to send a number of guys out to the Midlands Championships in Chicago, and it was fun. It's not like we came away with our tails tucked. We towed the line and we competed, and we see that throughout the year. At our home event, Don Parker, why don't you talk a little bit about what that was like wrestling in the Don Parker?
I mean, the Don Parker, there's teams that come over from St. Cloud and other Division II schools, and it's just tough competition. There's a bunch of guys there that are ready to scrap. But back to the trip, I want to mention just the bond that trip, and it goes back to like that suffering together and how you're on the road 2 weeks together with all your buddies and your teammates and really your family members, and yeah, you just come back and that bond is so much stronger than before you left.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Kind of looking at that Don Parker, it's a big event, like you mentioned. We run it on 6 mats here, and there's been some talk about in the future. We've got this Sonotag Center that's coming to Eau Claire. We're excited for that, right on the river, a new event center. Looking at potentially moving over there and continuing to grow the tournament. What do you think about that?
Growing the tournament, yeah. No, that'd be awesome. Just if we brought it over there, there'd be twice the competition probably. I mean, that's a sweet facility, brand new. I hope it happens. We wanna see the best guys in the country. I think it'd be fun to compare because you were a student athlete, however many years ago, and what that compares to my experience now. So maybe you want to talk about yours.
Yeah, I found, I came through in the program. It was the inaugural class of rehabilitation science here at Eau Claire. So we had students that kind of branched off into all sorts. There's kids from my cohort that are in med school, have become PTs and OTs, speech pathology. I'm currently studying for clinical mental health counseling. So you can kind of go all directions with it. Something that I really enjoyed was some of my first classes. We were in a large lecture hall with 200 plus students, but by the time that I was a sophomore, junior, we had refined down to a group of 18 students. So it felt like I had, an intimate relationship with the professor where I could have honest conversation and get to know them, and the same thing with my peers where we had small study groups, and it made it really, really accomplishable to get to know people here at Eau Claire. And the wrestling team too, on that side of it, being able to balance the school and the wrestling is something that's really doable. As coaches, we try to ensure that the guys are well set on the classroom side of things. So we'll run study tables. We've got free access to tutors included with the cost of tuition here. Different things that kind of set you up for academic success. Something that we're proud of here is the number of Scholar All-Americans that we put out of our program, and it's also worth noting that our wrestling team has a higher GPA than our student body at Eau Claire. So it pays to be a wrestler.
Yeah, I know that our coaching staff holds us to a very high standard for being a student athlete, because quite literally student comes before athlete and student athlete, and you guys, our coaching staff does just a great job of giving us the resources we need, and there's some super smart guys on the team like Tristan Massey that's willing to help the underclassmen and the freshmen. And for me, it's just my first year here, but I've been killing in the classroom and haven't found any struggles at all or problems, and I think that's just the standard that our coaches and our teammates set, that we're going to get the student part done so that we can compete on the mat as well.
Yeah, I think something that's exciting about Eau Claire is our relationship with the Mayo Clinic. I always think that that's worth noting. We've got a new program, the biomedical engineering program, and kind of the collaboration that we'll have. The new health sciences building is going to open up in 2026. So what that all is going to entail for prospective students is really exciting. Being able to do collaborative undergraduate research on campus, just the clinicals and the internships that we can do over at Mayo Clinic, having that right ingrained on campus is going to be an awesome opportunity. So Travis, I want you to talk a little bit about what your experience at Eau Claire has been like in comparison to what another Division II or even a Division III program might offer.
I think our bar is set just as high or even higher than those programs, but here at Eau Claire we just have a lot of fun, and we do a lot of like skits at the cafe, and just we have like a whole month J term where we just train every day, and the whole team's together the entire break, and it really creates that family aspect as well, and we just have fun together, and for me, like the just the schedule or the routine that I've built within wrestling, and just coming in the mornings and getting the things I need to on the mat, and working out with Brandon or the coaching staff or the partners that come in, and then during the day you go to class, and the teachers are great, and it's a really unique experience there. And then we have our practices every afternoon, or our lift with Coach Ruck, where we go down to the weight room and we get strong with him, and then we come up here and we work on ground and pound and top and bottom, and it really just transforms your wrestling, and it's been really enjoyable. And
yeah, you mentioned Zach Ruck. I think he's been instrumental to our success here at Eau Claire. And he's kind of a newer addition to the program. I didn't benefit from Zach earlier on in my competitive career at Eau Claire, but I think it's a black and white difference having him as part of the program versus not. So can you talk a little bit about what your involvement looks like? Like, what does that look like? What is your relationship with Zach, kind of just on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis?
Coach Ruck is just the best guy ever, and he just really cares about his athletes. And I've had back issues. I know that you have back issues, and he just every time I go in there, he's like, "Hey, how's your back feeling?" And making sure that we're staying healthy throughout the season, because it is a long season, and you get 40, maybe 30 plus matches, and you got to stay healthy, and we're getting strong at the same time. And he really preaches, as the season goes on, we're still getting stronger, which is almost unheard of in other programs. So comparing that to D2 or D1 programs, I don't know if they're getting stronger as the season goes on like we are, and I think that's super unique within our program. And
yeah, lifting in season, I think it makes a benefit. There's times where maybe it's late in the year and you're wearing the same shirt you wear, and you're like, hey, this is a little looser than it used to fit. I want to feel big. And I think that Zach, helps with that, and he really brings the science. From my perspective, what it seems like is he puts the science of you're not just lifting for the sake of lifting weights. We're not trying to become a bodybuilder or a power lifter. He really wants to translate what you guys are doing down in the weight room to the wrestling mat. Do you feel like he's been effective in that approach?
Oh, for sure, yeah. And one thing I want to mention is even when we went on our team trip, right? 2 weeks, and obviously we want to get in the gym, like we're competing those 2 weeks, and we have 2 tournaments that we're going to and stuff, and he was sending us our lifting on our app, and he's finding us gyms that he's going to, and he's super pumped about it too. He's like, oh, you guys are going to get to go to this gym and this gym, and he's just making connections for us and allowing us to peak and wrestle at our best abilities.
So Travis, if you could give one piece of advice to an incoming freshman or transfer student, and that can be about wrestling, about Eau Claire as a whole, what would that be?
Definitely gratefulness. Coach Fader, he gave us a speech once about entitlement, and it's this generation is very entitled and think that they should be given things just because of who they are, and that not that they've earned it. And this season wrestling will definitely teach you that to take advantage of every opportunity given, and yeah, and know that if you have been given that opportunity, it's because you earned it, and that you should be the guy there, or whether it's a wrestling spot or a leadership role or whatever it may be. So yeah, that's my piece of advice. Just be grateful and soak it all in, and yeah, have fun.
Now, Travis, you can share what your experience was, but I know something that really drew me from Minnesota to Wisconsin initially was the cost of tuition and the value associated with that tuition. We've got reciprocity between Minnesota and Wisconsin, which means that it's really, really affordable for wrestlers to come across and attend school here at Eau Claire. And then on top of that, the quality of the educational experience that I got here and the doors that has opened for me since graduation has been profound. Now being admitted to graduate school, I can say that Eau Claire and the rehabilitation science program specifically were a direct piece of my success. How has that been for you?
Well, I'm a freshman here, so I haven't been looking at too many jobs or internships yet. But I know I'm really close with our upperclassmen and Tristan Massey, and then Coco, Connor Collins. And he's going out to Charlotte to get his job and his internship. And I know that he just is always getting bugged for internships and job opportunities. And that really makes me feel good about what I'm earning here in my degree for the next 3 years and what I have to look forward to. And one of our alumni is even Jake Drexler. He's at Rudis now, and I wasn't a part of it, but last year's team trip, it sounds like they went to Rudis and got a tour of the factory or whatever, or facility, and that's pretty awesome too. And just having connections like that, and Fader knows everyone under the sun just about, so he's definitely a guy that will give you some numbers and some connections, and he even brings in people that are involved in like sports business and stuff, and just utmost opportunities.
You're a really skilled wrestler, and you've got a really bright future ahead of you. And with the work ethic that you put together, and having just your head state and your mindset where it's at, you're going to find a lot of success in your future. This year, you were in a spot where you had to compete for that starting spot in the lineup. You definitely had opportunities where you got to go and toe the line, and there were other times where you were a training partner. What keeps you at Eau Claire and pursuing a national title here versus another program?
I think I could just hear it in how you were just talking about me, and it's the coaching staff that believes in you, and that's a huge thing for me. And coming from a high school program with Kevin Black, one of the best wrestlers ever, best coaches I've ever had, and just that transition to this program and this team, it's been so special. And you, Brandon, and Fader, I couldn't ask for a better team behind me and better coaches behind me, and that's really, yeah. And then the same goes for the teammates that believe in you as well, and having teammates behind you that want to see you succeed and be the best that you can be, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to help you get there as well. And same with the coaches. They'll do whatever it takes to help you get there.
Yeah. It's hard. It's not really something that you can describe, but I'm going to ask you to try. The team culture at Eau Claire, what is that kind of like? What is that like here, both in the wrestling room, the things that you guys are doing off the mat? Could you describe that, how that's been?
The team culture is really great here, and I think guys just have a lot of fun, and we're cracking jokes and try not to make it as like too serious where it comes like overwhelming and like a burden on you. And it's a long season, and guys are able to have fun with it. But as soon as like it gets game time, or we're in the trophy hunt, or Jared Stricker or Fleet stepping on that line, then it's game time, and we're scoring as many points as possible, and that's just a great team cohesion or team standard to set for one another, that we can have as much fun as we want and crack jokes with each other, but it's business at the end of the day, and we're trying to accomplish goals together.